Well, welcome
Right.
everybody back. So I know we're if some of you came in early, we always have the Misa pregame. So if you ever want to jump in anytime like after 4:30, I think we talked about anything from Lincoln Park to Pokemon cards to
We'll always talk
whatever
about
the
Pokemon.
last thing we were talking about.
I know we talked about
So
cryptocurrency.
yeah, we talked about crypto and other stuff. So wide variety of things. So for all of you that this is your first time, welcome. Right, this is Misa. For those of you that have been attending, right, you're used to this. This is kind of our Thursday hangout. So last week we had ADT, which was great. Helena came in, um, and that's always a great session. But this week we have more of what we call our general meetings. So this week we actually have our LinkedIn session, and then we'll talk a little bit about Handshake. And this is where the MISA officers will kind of lead through this session. Um, but same thing goes as normal. If you have questions, if you have comments on anything, feel free either open up your microphone or you can write something in the chat. So I'll
Mhm.
go ahead and pass it over to the MISA officers. So this will be for Raymond, Christian, and Jonathan. So
Yeah. All right.
it's
Thank
yours.
you very much, Professor Sweet, for the introduction. Howdy, guys. I'm Christian. I'm here to, help talk to you guys through LinkedIn. Actually, I should have added Handshake too to the title, but we're going to go through some Handshake there as well. Raymond.
Hey everyone, I'm Raymond here. I'm also going to help out as well. Are you going to just jump right into it?
Yeah. I think if you guys ever have questions, feel free to write it in the chat. Professor Sweet, Jonathan, Rivas, anyone, any of the officers could probably manage and just chime in and just interrupt me and just ask the question because we have some free time. We're kind of just going it by ear. So, but hopefully we have a lot of tips for you guys today. LinkedIn is like one of the biggest tools, especially right now for job hunting, job searching, and kind of presenting yourself. So I think it's literally like necessary to kind of go over everything you can do with LinkedIn. Um, and there's just a lot of tips and tricks that some people don't know about or things you need to edit to make sure you're properly branding yourself or appearing in front of people. But yeah, we'll just dive right in. So let's see. Importance of LinkedIn and networking. This, just to kind of show you guys some statistics of like why you guys should be so interested in LinkedIn. 3% of people who apply on a job board land a job. So uh, obviously, job boards are very hard when you're going searching through. And when if you just apply to them, you're kind of just crossing your fingers. You're just hoping that you have a chance to get the job. 87% of recruiters actively utilize LinkedIn. Yes, this honestly I can just tell you by my own personal attempt. Whenever I apply to jobs, I love watching that notification bell of some recruiter viewed your profile. I literally stare at that every single day, and I kind of I try to like do my calculations in my head and like which job was it. I need to know. I need to know which recruiter was hunting me down and trying to find more information about me. So they definitely utilize LinkedIn, and then if you have the premium, I think it does tell you then which company the recruiter was from. So that's always interesting. And then they tell you also just in general who's viewing your profile. And then 85% of jobs are filled through networking. This is completely true. As Professor Sweet would mention, was mentioning earlier, Tiffany Caesar actually got her internship started at Microsoft through LinkedIn. I think she did. Was it like a viral video or she did something like a big kind of project going on? And what's it called? What happened? Like, do you know the story, Professor Sweet?
Yeah, so actually she had her profile together, and
Oh, is
then
that it?
they
Yeah.
just went on her profile and saw that she was interested in analytics, that she was doing the master's in IT, and so I
Mm,
guess they were just interested in her pro. I think she had her resume up on there too. So
yeah.
Yep.
and then
Okay.
they sent her the info, and then she applied, and
I
that
was al- I
now
always
she
assumed it
works
was
at.
like I was always assumed that she did like that interview when she was going around collecting interviews and stuff like that. I thought she posted something like that and she just kind of got attention. But all right, well, literally just the LinkedIn profile, having her worked and built up was literally led her to getting her job. So just some statistics so you guys understand how important LinkedIn is. So to start off, so I'm going to probably be using my profile for a couple of examples, but I'll kind of point out things of obviously where my profile isn't the best example, and we'll take some pieces and inspiration from other guys. Is pretty much I listed out. There's 9 components to your LinkedIn profile. Your profile photo, of course, your background photo, headline, summary, experience, education, licenses and certs, skills and endorsements, and then interests. These 9 things are literally your whole entire profile. And you have to manage pretty much each and every single aspect of it because that's kind of what all these recruiters or anyone that's going to be going through your profile are going to see. And I don't know if I have a dedicated slide of this, but to add on, you can edit the public details of your profile. So how someone from a different perspective will see your profile. Basically, what I mean is like, do you only want to allow your profile details to people that are connected with you? Do you want to allow people from the third degree connection, which is, say I'm connected with Raymond, Raymond's connected with Professor Sweet, and Professor Sweet's connected to Jonathan Rivas. He's going to be able to see my profile even if I'm not connected to him because he's my third degree. So that's kind of another aspect of what you want to do. And I definitely suggest we'll probably go over it and we'll take the time to like edit those profile details because those kind of things matter for recruiters looking for someone to fill up a specific job opportunity. You want them to be able to see your experience, especially when you trigger on the button of you're looking for a job. It's a very important thing. Um, so I'll start off with a couple of things. So probably we're pretty much going from top to bottom of your LinkedIn profile. So photo and background photos. So there's a lot of different examples of what people will do with their background photos. We'll start off with first. Um, Joe Russo, so he's CEO of Palm Beach Tech. He uses a glorious panoramic view of West Palm Beach. I believe that's from I want to say the inlet beachside kind of aspect view of it. It's a really great photo, and it really relates to what he's doing, which is trying to make Palm Beach a tech hub. So it really relates to his thing. Simple headshot of him. Nice, good photo of him. So it's a clean profile. Literally leads everything right, especially when you're viewing it from like a timeline feed. I'm gonna pick on my brother here. He's got that nice business professional headshot that I will never do. And I believe, if I remember correctly, uh his background photo was a photo that he took because he got into photography and he was like, yeah, I'm doing this, and I'm like, no, you're not. But there he is. He's got that nice professional shot. Emily, our lovely officer here at Misa, same thing, a nice professional business headshot, and her background photo actually kind of covers more, about where IT, data analytics, cyber stuff. It kind of points her connection and relationship to that kind of industry. And then Laszlo over here, a nice company photo. I really like that as your cover, as the cover photo. Just a company, that's a team photo of everyone. I think it kind of shows, your relationship, your build trusting in that, you're human and you're part of a whole organization. It's just a really nice photo, and another simple headshot. And what I kind of wanted to bring attention to was you don't need to do a business professional headshot to stand out much on LinkedIn. You can see Laszlo's is actually a big example. You can pretty much see that photo was probably taken just with a white wall behind him, and it still comes off really nicely. While you may not come off as someone who took the time to dedicate to a business professional, that's not always the aspect that you may need to go on to. Joe Russo, he definitely that was definitely a professional photo shoot, but it's still a nice clean photo. You don't have to be in a suit and tie and everything, um, in all cases. And then my brother, of course, suit and tie, sat down. He probably paid for all that. I know you're going crazy there. But yeah. So next, your headlines. So Raymond, let me know whenever you want to take one of the slides over as well. But headlines. So this is going to be the sentence that's right below your profile. This kind of is like your title. Most cases on default is going to be your title. What this does is, it kind of just describes what you are, what's your position at what organization, or where you kind of are in life. And really, the biggest thing I think to take into account for these headlines is the keywords you're using. So if a recruiter does utilize the search engine on LinkedIn, which a lot of them do to kind of just start off their cold searches, your headline is actually going to dictate most of their search results. If you include the words, I'm going to use a lot of digital marketing terms just because that's kind of the industry I'm in. But if you include words like digital marketing expert or social media ads guy, guru, whatever, if they use those kind of words and those are in your headline, you have a lot higher chances of just kind of beating the ranking system, and you're going to appear more for those kind of terms. Um, and I use these two guys as an example because the idea is there's two different styles you can go with on your headline. You can go more of a phrase. So with Matthew Smith, he kind of just describes his whole kind of his positioning in his career life with a whole sentence. So cultivating digital transformation powered by analytics and the Microsoft Cloud. So digital transformation, analytics, Microsoft Cloud. Those are kind of the big three things that I pick up. He uses those big kind of strong buzzwords, and anyone that's looking for someone that maybe work with Microsoft Cloud, that's where he's going to show up. Data analytics, anything, he's going to help show up for that. And then cultivating digital transformation is kind of like that action piece that you want to add to show that you're not just a theory or thinking of ideas, that you're actually executing these ideas. So it's just a really big keyword, and that'd be like something that you'd use like the first word for your resume. Like we've all been kind of through some sort of resume learning guide where they'll say, you want to use an action word as your first word. That's what he's doing, but with his headline instead. Chris Mistral, on the other hand, he took a different approach where it's kind of more listing out your positions or your titles that you've had throughout the years of your career. So Intel is founder. Intel is his company. Chuck Norris of B2B growth hacking. So he kind of he kind of included some relation. What is that? Opposite of metaphor. I don't remember it. But anyway, then he lists his next thing: revenue engine mechanic, SaaS, manufacturing tech startups, HubSpot partner. When you're doing kind of a style like this is obviously when you have, probably a lot more down the line of your career, when you have kind of a bunch of titles that you can list out and you can kind of just flex on LinkedIn. You want to always start with your biggest one first. So obviously stating that he's the founder of Intellis, which is his company. It's even his background photo. That's the number one thing he's going to start. And he also uses an emoji to split it up. That's also another way if you want to kind of try to stand out. Definitely think about how you're going to purpose that, depending on your industry. And marketing for sure. It looks like he's doing marketing. Yeah, he's doing marketing and probably like digital like AI kind of things. Um, that's kind of where you want to stand out. That's just marketing tactics and how you're doing copyright. Um, but again, those are kind of two phrases that probably the most popular ones everyone's using. So just depending on where you are in your career path, you can kind of decide: do you want to be like Matthew Smith and kind of use the whole sentence outline, or do you want to be like Chris? If you have a bunch of titles under you, or you've been a part of a lot of things, you can go like Chris Mitchell and say student at FAU, digital analytics, intern at Office Depot, um, anything you kind of want, and then of course start with like your main priority in the beginning. Your summary. So your summary is like the biography of your main LinkedIn profile. This is kind of what's right underneath. And I wrote own your own summary because your summary, you're going to want it to be actually kind of more of your story. I would like to consider this kind of like a cover letter, because the idea is anything that you don't want to talk about experience specific, you're going to want to go over in your summary. So the first one is actually my own one. It was written a long time ago, but I think it could, I honestly I could still probably roll with it today. Talks about what type of person I am. um, Kind of goes over my education and then also my experience, and then what I'm also looking for to do in the future. So I kind of broke it down into my personality traits, education, experience, and then future goals. Kind of like a quick 4 points. Next is actually Professor Sweets, experienced instructor with demonstrated history. It kind of goes through all of his experiences and kind of just talks about some of his credentials and accolades there. So it's a really great, also another process, because sometimes the thing about your summary is you got to remember that's pretty much the first thing they're probably seeing when they go into your profile. Underneath, photo, background photo, profile photo, headline. Next thing is a summary. That's the first thing that's coming up. Another officer at Misa, highly motivated, energetic, and positive person. Kind of have that again, that same motif of like describe your personality, describe kind of what you're looking forward to do, and more talk about your skill sets. And then I took one from Joe Russo, where he kind of has it more of a narrative, more of a story actually driven thing, where he kind of actually talks about himself in the third person. Joe Russo is the founding, CEO. He actually probably took this from a PR script or copyright, but it works really well for him because he's branded himself into being this person that is Palm Beach Tech. So it's a really great example of what else you can do with your summary. So it's a really cool concept. He talks about all his achievements that he's done with Palm Beach Tech. He lives and breathes this this organization, and I got to give him credit for it. It turns out like to be a really great project. But yeah, I'd say consider your summary as more like kind of like a cover photo or a cover letter. I think that's kind of the idea when you're writing it, and doesn't have to be super long. Like Joe Russo, it could be a simple kind of paragraph, like mine or the other two below me. Um, but always kind of I think a big suggestion I have is have a second pair of eyes to check it out after you write it, either for grammar mistakes or kind of like like what tone you're getting from when you're reading it. Serious tone, relaxed tone, more professional, like how you want to present yourself. Adding documents with LinkedIn. So this was a feature. They actually separated this feature before. I believe it was just something you can add underneath your profile. Now they actually have a section called featured in your profile that you can do it into, where you can add your resume, you can add your website, you can kind of add videos, pretty much anything you ever want underneath your profile that like might need another link. In this case, so for my own thing, I have a website because again, I'm in digital marketing, so it's kind of like just a thing that we digital marketers have to kind of do to kind of stand out from everyone else and have our own digital resume. And then of course I have my normal printed resume. So one thing I actually kind of want to give you guys inspiration to do is I think making videos is a really great way to kind of fill up this feature section if you don't really have more content to give. And now you're probably thinking like, well, what video would I make? Uh, Literally take any school project, for example. If you can do a tutorial video on just how to create a calculator in JavaScript or C Sharp, C++, literally anything, that could be a video, and it kind of just shows that you're more engaged with some of the things you're working at in school. I feel like tutorials on pretty much anything it would be really helpful, and it just kind of gives you some more experience to work with. Doesn't have to be super edited to being anything special. Just literally simple cuts, or there's probably you have that one friend that is doing some sort of creative thing on the side that they love helping you with. So, oh,
Yeah,
is it that?
I'll add to that too. As far
Yeah.
as posting a video, I do think it's a great resource to add because, especially for a lot of you here and a lot of us here, you have maybe not a full list of experience because you're either doing school right now or you don't have a lot of experience in the field that you're getting your degree in. And it's a good way to showcase exactly what your skills are at this point because you may do a project like Christian said, and maybe something simple and maybe something everyone's doing. That's a project, but it does highlight that you know what you're talking about. So if everyone is doing the same project on creating, like you said, a calculator, it may seem simple, but the somebody that's hiring, they'll be able to see, oh, you know how to do something like build a calculator. You know how to do something a little bit more elaborate. You're not just listing, oh, okay, I know Java or I'm familiar with Java. You're highlighting what you know already and doing a practical use of it. So that goes a long way when you have that. And not everyone's doing it. Very few people will post videos and it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It could be a minute and a half. It could be a minute. It could be something cut together just to show. But just having that separates you entirely, especially in a place where you don't have a lot of experience in that you can highlight. I know this, and it does make a difference. I've actually seen that before. I had a coworker that did that, and he actually he ended up getting an interview because he was able to highlight that he knew a particular skill that wasn't necessarily in his resume that he couldn't show normally because he had gone to school and showed a project. So I do believe in the power of videos and tutorials. I think that's a great way to start.
Yeah, I don't think I've pushed this before, but I think honestly, when we're looking at school projects, obviously we know group projects are kind of lame and boring, and like you're just kind of doing it for the grade. But I like to do two birds with one stone. If you really take the time and just do these projects, more of it look at it as like an experience thing rather than just a grade. If you just document yourself or kind of just take notes of how the project's going, these are can be used for behavioral stories and like future interview questions when they say like, think about a time you worked on a team and one teammate wasn't that great. What did you do? Like if you just take little notes in your head, like while you're doing a project, like, oh, this happened. Okay, just stored in the back of your mind. That's an example for a behavioral question down the line. Um, I know in one of my class I took mobile apps for business. I think it was called. We made an app on our phone. I literally have that app on my phone to this day because I know if I just come into an interview and they want to ask me about programming languages or any like tech skills I've done, it's like, oh, I made an app once, or I helped make an app once, and I can literally pull out my phone and be like, yeah, look, click on it, it plays a video. Isn't that amazing? But having like a physical embodiment of like your skills put into use is just a great way. So I definitely recommend you guys when you're doing like school projects and things, take note of how it's going on, what's going on, and can you use it into a future example for like an interview or your resume, and share it on LinkedIn. I think it's is it GitHub, GitHub where you can
Yes,
share
it
your
is.
code. So GitHub would be a great example of showcasing some of these things.
Yeah, and even a lot of people that are seasoned in the field using GitHub is something that they use for interviews and on their own resume to show all the work that they've done. So yeah, I agree. You can do a lot of school projects and just throw it on there, and it's a good resource.
But yeah, adding documents, great thing to show off, showcase other things. Experience. So one common mistake I actually see a lot. And actually, I can't blame them because I would have done the exact same thing. People will post their resume experience straight to from the resume to their LinkedIn profile. It'll be that bullet point list, action word into this, action word into this, action word into this, next experience, action word into this, action word into this, et cetera, et cetera. Um, in my case, this is kind of how at least my mindset is. If someone's on my LinkedIn profile, maybe they did just kind of completely cold search me and find me, looking for a job opportunity. But in most cases, someone's got into my LinkedIn profile because I applied to a job with my resume and it sent them over there. Now, the mindset I want to kind of help you guys get into is like, why would you just relist your resume over again for them to see? There's nothing new. I like to treat my experiences as kind of just these paragraphs that you can put in as just a little story about that job. Help you explain a little bit more. Like, yeah, you worked on a team and then ended up achieving $1 million in a business. That's written on the resume. I've seen it before. It doesn't showcase more. Maybe now in the paragraph you can talk about how your internship was being on that team that made $1 million. Maybe a little more crucial steps and get into more in-depth things about it. An example in my case, I took a job. I ended up leaving, but I came back to the job. An experience on my LinkedIn, it actually helps me, kind of explain what happened there and why I left and why I came back and why I left again. There's just it's more you can tell more about the story, and not always they're gonna read it, but it's there, extra content. If the recruiter's really interested in you, they'll spend even more time digging into you and learning more about you when you're looking for opportunities. So, and also, linking the company is always great. They get a nice photo, and it kind of makes your profile pop out a little more. And you can see kind of like the first company that's on the right list. They don't have a photo, they don't have a LinkedIn, so it kind of looks meh. But everything else, they have a nice photo. It's a nice, colorful photo. It stands out and it sticks out more. Oh, and take your action. You can reuse the action words they use in your resume. Just build upon a little story behind it. I think that's just the kind of more ideal feature to the experience section of your LinkedIn. Skills and endorsements. So Raymond, I actually took this off of yours. um, so skills and endorsements is there's another section right below your experience. Actually, I think one I skipped is education, but they, FAU, whatever, your GPA, your major. There's not that much to that point, so I decided to kind of skip over it. It's a very easy thing. If you guys actually need help, feel free to hit me up. I will write it out for you. All right. But skills and endorsements. So skills and endorsements is another section where you can list out all the skills that you've experienced or a part of and have skills in. Um, and you can pin 3 of them to the top to showcase for anyone that visits your profile. Um, Make sure you have these kind of organized. I just want to say, and like keep them into relevant to where you're trying to go in your career path. If you're doing a lot of data analytics, if you're doing into that things, list them out. Have them listed, and then pin the main 3 like data analytics, SQL, or I don't know, Ruby, Python, any kind of coding languages. Maybe those are the 3 things that people want to see. And the other part of these skills after you list them is endorsements. So if you don't know what endorsements are, is basically some other connection can go into your profile and say, "Oh, I worked with them. I know they're really good at SQL." They can click a little plus sign and it'll say, "Hey, you're endorsing them for this skill." Would you like to say why or explain why or like how you were exposed to them being knowledgeable in the skill? And I think for most cases, it's like a lot of people will put, "Oh, I heard from someone else," and that's most case, or or I've worked directly with. In this case, I'll say I worked directly with Raymond. That's why I endorsed him in sales or sales management. And it'll be like, "Oh, I directly managed over Raymond. I was above him, so I know he's good in automotive and sales management." So it's kind of you talk about kind of the relationship you have there. And one etiquette that I want to talk about that not a lot of people may be aware of, but on LinkedIn, when you make new connections, sometimes this might happen with randos if they connect with you, but basically they'll go into your profile and endorse you for all their skills. The etiquette on there is to endorse their top 3 skills back. Um, Obviously, you don't have to. This is kind of just if you want people to endorse you back. Maybe if you're really on the hunt, you want to hit those 99 numbers on your skills because I think that's where it caps out.
Yep.
Connect with all of us here in the Misa group, and we'll endorse each other for the skills. It's nothing big. You're not hold accountable to anything. It just makes your profile pop out a little more when they see, oh, okay, all these people talk about his sales management skills. I'm more interested in that, and I know he's got some good work there.
One more point to that. As far as the skills go, I'm not sure if anyone else has a LinkedIn Premium profile. I actually just got one just a couple of weeks ago, and I noticed that when you're going through the job postings, you can see which skills you have that other people have that are applying to the job. And I believe that the recruiters can also see that same list as well. So a lot of times you'll see skills that match up and say, oh, this you or so and so is a match for this job. So let's say you see like a data analyst job that's posted on there, and you have in your skills, let's say Python in there or Java or Excel, then the recruiter will be able to attach those skills and say, oh, this person is a high percent chance or has a high percent chance of being compatible for this job. So you're automatically on top of a list within LinkedIn. So it's very important to add skills on LinkedIn so that you can get noticed by recruiters that are using LinkedIn to find new people and people that are applying. Because let's say you go there and there are 100 people that applied for the same position, and 50 of them have Python and Excel in theirs, and yours doesn't. It's a very good chance that LinkedIn person is going to look at those profiles first, even if you have just minimal knowledge in it. That's fine if you're at least as long as you're a little bit aware of how to use those skills, because you can always just continue the conversation if you have one with the interviewer. But it's good to have that in place so that way you're at least noticed on there and you have a better chance of getting selected for one of those interviews.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Hit me with it.
Yeah.
I heard that if you have more connections, that recruiters are more enticed to look at your profile. I don't know if that's true or not. I heard like the magic number is like 500. Like if you have 500 people like people from Microsoft will be more enticed to see, oh, well, they're actively using LinkedIn. Do you have any knowledge or anything towards that?
So so first off, yes, the magic number is 500 connections for any profile. Pretty much, the reason for that is that when you see an account and it'll show you their connections number, anything under 500, it'll show you the exact number. If you have 222, it'll show that you have 222 connections. But there's a cap at 500. After 500, they won't show. It'll just say 500 plus connections. So if you want to hit, that top tier number, that's where you want to be. And the reason why, kind of added the point of where recruiter would want to be more inclined to view your profile. I think the idea, rather than being more inclined to view your profile, is rather they have now more of the ability to view your profile. I'll try to go over this in a little bit again, but again, you can edit your details to be viewed by specific connections. So as I said with the example before, if I'm connected with Raymond, who's connected with Professor Sue, who's connected with Jonathan Rivas, Jonathan Rivas, say he was the recruiter, he can actually see my full profile now because I've edited my settings to a point where he can see it. The more connections you have, that means the more third degree connections you're going to have in the end result. So that's why you do want to have these connections, because if you just connect, say Raymond has 2,000 connections, he's the most popular guy out there. He's connected with all the recruiters. He's famous out here. I connect with Raymond. Any recruiter that's connected with him can now completely see my profile, and that just makes it more now enticing for when someone sees, hey, I can see their whole profile instead of just, the limited amount that I get if I'm not, a third degree connection to them. It gives them a chance to explore and learn about you more over your LinkedIn profile that you've definitely, you've optimized, you've made it look right, you've branded yourself to a way where you look enticing enough to take a data scientist job or something like that. I think that's where the idea comes from, of where you want to have as many connections as possible. Because at 500, boom, now you have the number of 500 plus connections. After that, now you're connected with more people that can see your profile.
So,
Yeah.
so Mr. Christian, so you're saying it's not what you know, but
Uh,
who you know.
Always. Come on,
it's
that's a big
always
part of it. Big part of it. And that's networking. Networking is part of who you know, just whether it's through an individual or whether it's through a club or an association like this. I mean, definitely it helps in the long run.
hmm no, yeah, of course, it's definitely about who you know, because, and I can tell you guys how many times this happened. Recruiters will message you, about job opportunities they have, especially when, there's a couple settings. I'll definitely do an example of this, but going to your settings and triggering, marking yourself as you're open to job offers. Recruiters get this knowledge because they're part of the LinkedIn Premium. It just kind of shows up for them, and they'll be able to see, oh, they're open to job offers. Now I would, they spend like a credit, I think it's called, to message you, and they talk about the opportunity with you. But in the case where, they might have hit a limit, like, because credits do cost actual money for these companies, they can't send any more credits for the month. they'll just stop messaging people to waste their credits, and then maybe they'll take more of a chance to messaging you, who's a free connection. It's a free message for them now because they're connected with you by some way. So that's another idea if you want to look at it from the viewpoint of a recruiter. They're spending money to talk to people that are completely brand new, have no relation to them. Whereas if you already have a connection with them, it might be more enticing for them because they're saving money on their company's end to be able to talk with you. Um, and yeah, O'Shane, at the end of this, we are gonna have we'll try to review maybe 2 or 3 profiles and see if we can get some tips out for you guys. But yeah, we'll save that at the end. But another feature that they added for against skills and endorsements is called assessment quizzes. So I've been probably procrastinating on doing this for a long time, so I ended up doing it earlier today. I passed, guys. Ooh.
All right, congrats. Hey, those are
So
tough. Some of those are really tough.
some of these are actually there was a couple of questions that would have hit me differently. Kind of like more about the proper verbs or not vocabulary that they use. So they are getting tough, and I think ever since they first released, now the questions are more optimized, to really set a standard of do you actually know this skill or not. So what the assessment quizzes are basically, there's a limit. I think it's limited to like a pretty certain skill sets, but there's a lot related to tech. So any
Yep.
coding languages or anything like that, there's probably an assessment skill for you. What happens is when you pass one of these quizzes, is you get a badge. And once you display that, I think I forgot to this screenshot to put it up there. But if say I put Google Analytics as my top 3 skills and endorsements, it would show that I have a little badge next to me, and it look more appealing now that I've actually, a fake, kind of like a fake certification on this on this Google Analytics that skill that I learned. So it's a great way, definitely check out the assessments. I don't know what the limit. I think I do believe that like after you take one, you have to wait a day or maybe a week to take it again if you fail it. But I'll definitely look into more of that if you guys have more questions about that. Definitely a thing to check out. Once you think you're comfortable enough to take one of those assessment quizzes, take it. It can literally not hurt your LinkedIn. It's not like it is just a pass or fail thing. But the fail, there's really no repercussions. It's not like you're getting a worse grade at school or something like that. It's just you don't get the badge for now. Quickly review, catch up on your material, boom, you get a badge. And obviously, in this case, I'd probably put Google Analytics to be in my skills and endorsements top 3. I'd want people to endorse it. And now, at least for myself, as a digital marketing point, if a recruiter is looking for a digital marketing specialist and say, hey, this person has 30 people endorsed him on Google Analytics and he's got the assessment from LinkedIn, it's a solid fit. They know I know my stuff on Google Analytics. It's kind of a thing you want to check out. And I believe Katie, she's not here tonight, but she also left me a tip of when everyone's got a free month of LinkedIn Premium. You're able to able to do this as long as you haven't already used it. They do offer, I believe, small courses and like kind of learning, teaching things. Oh, Katie, there. They do offer little courses that you can actually learn and improve your skills on, and I think they are kind of geared helpful to be towards these Google assessment things or these not Google assessment, LinkedIn assessments. So it's definitely a thing to check out. I know I've used it because I was just kind of like curious when I was really job hunting. Again, I'm just so curious of who's viewing my profile. It's I have a problem. Don't take
I'm
that
gonna
from me.
view it every single day now just to make that
I
little
will, and
notification
I
go
will
off.
check it out, and I'll be like, "Why is Jeremy checking me? What's happening?" And I'm thinking back in my life, like, what did I do wrong? When did I recommend into my LinkedIn profile? Um, and yeah, actually, that's the thing that not some people know. It does give a notification to people when you view their profile. So make sure you guys are aware of that. I mean, I don't think it affects anything or anything about that, but just a thing to understand. Yeah, let's see. So we're gonna step away from LinkedIn for a second, and we're gonna go to Handshake because FAU, of course, is gonna be pushing this everywhere. But there are a lot of good benefits about Handshake. This is just a simple profile that I have not updated in years, and that is a problem for me. But let's go over it. Update your profile. First thing, make sure you keep it updated. There are a lot of people, a lot of recruiters. I typically get a lot of messages, actually more from Handshake than even LinkedIn, because
Same.
Handshake is actually geared towards college students or people in college and universities. So the idea is a recruiter can right now filter basically all their viewings to specifically college students and at universities and things like that. So a lot of companies do like to have entry people that also recently graduated. Sometimes it's easier to shape their mind to kind of idea of, oh, we want you to have the mindset of kind of our company where we do this, 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 and that. So it's kind of the idea is they want these recent grads and things like that. Make sure you keep your profile updated. I know I'm a victim of this. I really need to keep update this. Jesus, yeah, January 2018. I do not work there anymore. All right, so but anytime you check on your LinkedIn, and you want to update it. It may be tedious, but if you really want the job, go in and take the extra time, and I'll go and update your Handshake. I'm going to explain most of the benefits now that come with Handshake. Oh wait, actually, before I do that, also you can see here who viewed your profile on the right side, in the middle. What companies viewed your profile? That's always dope to see. Knowing me, I can literally exactly see what company is viewing me. Um, Messages. So I definitely recommend everyone to download the app for Handshake because it does give you a notification when you get a new message. As you can see, there's already like four different companies that message me. I have not read their messages, but this one, for example, was about Enterprise Holdings. They're having a thing to share their story, and they're having like an info session about what they're doing. So I definitely recommend checking the messages and checking out these new events. We'll go over events in a second, but there's a lot of great like information out there. And if you want to kind of get your foot in the door, some people don't notice these events. And I'm a victim of also that. There's a lot of different events that I don't know what's going on that are actually crazy beneficial to when you're doing your job hunting things. So definitely keep in check. If you guys know the company Box did an info session. I obviously didn't. I think I did read it, but it probably just doesn't show. Box had a huge info session specifically for their internship program, and that's a company I believe in San Francisco now. They're part of the whole Silicon Valley tech thing. It's a really great company. But there's a lot of things, a lot of them usually message you ahead of advance for like career fairs and things like that. So it's definitely a thing to take advantage of because like when they say like, hey, Barton Associates was one of them. I remember their message. It was just like, hey, we're going to be at your next career fair. We just wanted to take a time if you would fill out like this sheet so they can maybe expect you. If you're really interested in the company, obviously do your research and things like that. If you're interested though in talking with them, go in, fill out whatever sheet they're saying or like just say a quick hi to the lady, and then you can kind of give them that anticipation to meet you at the career fair or at the virtual fairs that they have on what is it, Premiere Virtual. So on those little booths. Jobs. So I think the biggest thing that I like about Handshake for the job market, at least, is that these are very like well kept and updated. LinkedIn sometimes has some really really old ones, and you'll see it's like, oh yeah, there's a new internship coming up. Cool. When was this posted? 200 weeks ago. Awesome. That is not worth it at all for me. That has not helped me one bit. Handshake is actually really good about keeping these updated. So these are actually two brand new ones that were sent to us by Byron Knight, and they even have, you can see on the one on the right has a little fresh tag at the top, so it'll tell you when it's a brand new job and you're ready to check it out. Internship programs happening right now at Next Era. If you're interested, they have the apply externally, which basically means they go to their website and you'll apply. But what cool thing about Handshake, I don't have an example here, is some of the jobs let you apply with one touch. I think LinkedIn also actually has this too.
Yep.
So you don't have to fill out that much information. Anything that you've already filled out on your profile, that'll already be sent over to the company, and they can just base your application off of that. Obviously, if you know the job market, obviously those tools sometimes work against you because then there's a lot more people also applying to the job because of how easy it is. But that's just a part of the part of the job market when you're applying for jobs. But yeah, definitely check out jobs on Handshake.
Yeah, I definitely also want to stress that the competition aspect, it really is significantly lower because this is just posted for college students, university students. So you're not getting a lot of external people that are jumping in like even on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn's a
Mhm.
great place to find a job. So your competition is significantly less versus something else. And then also they know you're a college student, so they're a lot more lenient on people that apply through Handshake and not go, oh man, you don't have this XXX for all the relevant experience because they know you're coming out of college. So if you haven't been on Handshake, it really is great, and it's significantly more up to date, I think, at times than LinkedIn. So do take a look at it.
Yeah, no, I actually even forgot to touch upon that point. But again, yeah, they're focused on college students and university students, anyone that's in that realm. You're not competing against the people like, oh yeah, we have a great, data scientist role. You just need 6 years of experience. It's like this literally Handshake, just going on Handshake alone already kind of filters most of those things out for you. Um, and John Tucker, yep, next era FPL. I think, yeah, that is. Isn't it? Was it an acquisition or they just always been like that?
No, Next Era is the parent
It,
company
they
of
are. Oh,
FPL.
okay,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Okay, damn, I forgot what it was, but I remember someone saying like the dude on the bottom at the FPL wires is like makes more than the guy that's up there actually fixing the wires. But anyway, that's the only thing I remember for FPL. Events. One more huge thing that I don't even take enough advantage of when hunting for jobs. So there's an events tab on Handshake, and it'll list out a bunch of company events or just school events that your school's having, of things that are going on. Now, obviously, the biggest one I think that stands out here is probably the last three, which is the Nike, the Google, and the Capital One Bank. So what's happening here is that these companies are basically having like their own info sessions that's available to anyone that's using Handshake, which is just other universities. Um, so the biggest thing about this is like you want to get your foot a little bit more into the door, kind of like how we have our own Misa sessions when the companies come in and talk to their things. Maybe take your chance at going into one of these events. Obviously, they might be a little more inclined, or these might be a little more competitive than our own Misa tribe here. But this is just a great way to kind of get your foot in the door a little bit, kind of make their way through their own kind of hiring funnel, and get yourself kind of started to maybe see if you can get in charge of things like that. uh, you know, Definitely I think the biggest one that I didn't even realize until I scrolled down all the way was that Capital One data science internship information session. I think that's a big one for any of us that is in the MIS major. If you're interested in that analytics route or anything like that, that's a really big one to check out. November 4th hosted. You sign up through Handshake. I think it'll send you an email and add it to your Google Calendar, your iOS calendar, and boom, check that out. Feel free to make sure that's right there. But yeah, I think the only one I've attended, I think, was like a Disney internship one. I know they posted a lot, but definitely check out these events. Again, the big thing overarching all of this, take advantage of Handshake. It's there for you guys. As I keep saying, like, while school, it can teach you and everything, you guys got to be hungry. And if you want the job, make sure you're looking at and taking advantage of all these resources that are around you. Handshake is just such a big thing that a lot of us, oh, the school's shoving it down our throats. It's not that great. Take like 5 more minutes to check it out. It is insanely good. It's crazy how
Yep.
much resources are there available for you guys to help you get that job. um Q&A and live LinkedIn session. So I'm gonna actually go see if we can review O'Shane's profile in a second, and while you guys get your questions kind of in, Raymond, you can kind of help me moderate that. But let me
Do you,
see.
do you
Yep.
want me? I can go ahead and stop the recording if you want to, in that way,
Yeah,
or
sure.
do you
We
want
can
to keep the
whatever.
recording? Probably just
uh
stop.
we could just stop it so I don't expose
Yeah,
anyone on their LinkedIn and
that's
it's
good.
recorded
You
forever.
you had all the info before anyway, so
Yeah,
okay, I'll
yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead and
yeah,
stop that.
for sure.